Bigwater Fishing, Captain Ross here. You've probably seen some of our videos on redoing boats and things like that. Well, we're taking on a trailer build. We did one of these a number of years ago, and we're going to do it again here, and I've learned a lot throughout the process of doing a couple buddies. And so here we're going to take it step by step. So in this part of the trailer build, we're going to tease you a little bit because here I am fishing some saltwater and it's much nicer than it is back in Ohio. So a little bit of rubbing it in there. But what we're talking about is accessories. So a lot of different little things that you can do in a trailer that make a big difference. So even if you're not doing a complete rebuild or starting from scratch kind of like I did, maybe there's just one or two little things here that you can do that'll make your trailer a whole lot better. And one of those is an electrical pass-through. So we're going to put a little basically patch on the outside there, a little latch, and it's waterproof, and then we're gonna have an electrical box inside. So all those little steps, we kind of go through this quick just because we don't want to make this thing hours long. But if you notice, we actually have a separate video. If you search through some of our stuff, they're just on that box. But it's really a key deal because what that's going to allow me to do is to have a door locked up but still have power in there, whether it's at their house or in a motel or whatever it may be, so we can charge things. Endless possibilities. Now in this next section we're going to show you is we took some spare scraps and just ripped them on a table saw there from the kickboard. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to make a little stop so that on top of the cabinets we can use all of that space. Things would slide around there and be gone very quickly, but we're just ripping some small pieces there and riveting them on some aluminum angle. Now all of a sudden we've got a place that we can put a bunch of stuff up there and not have any wasted space. So in this next section, you're going to see first off B-Team Bob standing around with his hands in his pockets. Then you're going to see me using denatured alcohol to clean the trailer, basically the kind of frame bottom trim section. And the reason for that is I'm going to put an adhesive, basically like emergency strips, whatever you want to call it, reflectors on there. And that's going to make this trailer a lot more visible, whether it's sitting still or going down the road. And it makes a huge difference and something I would definitely recommend to you. You see these on 18-wheelers and it really, really helps out. So make sure you clean that though before you do it, and just put almost too much on it. The back door especially, really used a lot, and do not use the cheap stuff. It will actually delaminate very quickly and then be a hot mess to clean up. So in this part of the trailer build, this might be where you have to phone a friend or actually call in a pro. What I did was I made a plate that was going to act as a backing plate and also an anchor in the trailer so that I could winch something in and out or have a secure tie down. The walls and the floor in these are not super secure, so we're going to find an area where we have the cross members meeting in the floor and we can create a really good anchor spot. Now you'll also notice where I started with this plate and where I finished in the video there is two different things. I actually made my top plate my bottom plate, and that larger plate is just going to distribute the weight better. It's going to catch both of the cross beams a lot better, and then it allows me to put a riser on there. So I have actually a receiver, and that receiver is going to allow me to put a winch in there, or really anything just like you would your vehicle. A super secure tie down spot, so whether I want to winch a car in there or a snowmobile or something like that's broke down or secure anything, this is what's going to allow that to happen. So the first thing you want to do is lay out where that winch plate is not going to, basically go through a support, but you want to tie into hopefully both cross members. That's going to make it a lot stronger. Next, we're going to use the backing plate as a template to drill the holes, so we make sure everything's going to line up just perfect. Now you want to use a mat or something to keep the dissimilar metals from touching. Basically just want to keep things separated a little bit. I used a piece of aluminum and steel underneath as a backing plate because I found when I started to tighten it down that the aluminum was kind of flexing, at least too much for me. And I also used a piece of starboard in there to separate those different metals again. It's really kind of a two-person job. You want to tighten down the bolts, which are grade 8, and then make sure that you use good quality nylock nuts, the same type, and then some large washers. So in this last section, kind of what we have is basically the add-on accessories, bells and whistles, if you will. While these aren't necessary, they're kind of those creature comforts that just make it a little nicer, and this could really go a million different ways depending on what you need. The first one you're going to see is, I just have a simple shovel holder. Need one of those for unburying, and a nice place to keep it out of the way and not in something. So that's kind of nice. The next thing, I like is this fold-down table. Basically, it's an aerosol holder, cabinet. I've got all kinds of stuff in there and paper towel holders. A little expensive, but also really nice and very usable. Then, the next thing we've got here is this little tray, and that's going to allow me to hold one of my graphs, and you can see the live sonar pole right next to it there, and that just keeps a backup or keeps things from getting beat around. Helmet holders, you don't take up all your valuable space with those, and you can also allow them to air out. Use some fancier ones. They are a lot nicer than the cheap ones. I probably spent a few extra dollars to get that. And then just something as simple as hooks. Again, don't get super cheap ones because they break. I already had that happen. Maybe get some stainless steel ones and just put those all up around the top like I did there, and you're going to allow yourself to hold just about anything, jackets or whatever it is, just to keep things off of the floor. You know, on the back corner of the trailer, that I've done this on several, I take rails off one of my old Ranger boats and I just mount those right in there. And that's a really good way to keep the ratchet straps and tie downs, bungees and things like that from getting tied into things and all over the place and tangled up. So some of the things don't have to be complicated. Some get a little more expensive than others. So hopefully you enjoyed this section on kind of the accessories, you know, bells and whistles, all that good stuff. But those are the things that kind of make it, you know, the fit and the trim and all those little things that you really appreciate after, you know, tweaking the trailer or maybe just redoing one. Next section we're going to have up is kind of a final walkthrough of all the different parts and pieces. So hopefully you've enjoyed the trailer build process to this point. Let us know, comment, like, and subscribe, and follow us at Bigwater Fishing. You guys know where to find us.